everyone, I'm SHANA. I have a PhD, but I deliver for GrubHub. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how delivering for GrubHub helped me pay off $34,000 in 6 months. I graduated with my PhD in public health in August 2017. So it's been about a year now. And right after graduation, I had a job lined up. Well, a postdoc lined up. And a postdoc is kind of like the same thing as a residency after medical school, so it's just additional training. And I was very intent on finding a postdoc that would pay very well. And I was able to find one, and so I moved from Miami to Atlanta to do my postdoc. And I was so happy that I had this postdoc because, like I said, it paid very well. And traditionally, a lot of the NIH postdocs don't pay well at all. So, and I actually just found this out too, that the NIH has a guideline for how much they should pay postdocs. And right now the guideline, I think, is about $45,000 or so. But this is the part that I just found out. They don't have to pay you $45,000. They could pay you less. And a lot of postdocs are actually getting paid less than $45,000. But even before I knew that you could get paid less than the $45,000, I thought that $45,000 was just way too low for the amount of training that a PhD goes through. So for me, I went to Howard University for my bachelor's degree, and then I went to Columbia University for my master's in public health, and then I did my PhD at the University of South Florida. And so I felt like, I had pretty good training, pretty good education. I went to an Ivy League. I went to an HBCU that now is rated in the top 100. Again, it was rated in the top 100 when I first went. And then my USF is rated in the top schools of public health as well. And so I was just thinking, I've been in school for so long. Let me see. 4 years for undergrad, 2 years for a master's, so that's 6 years. And then 5 years for a PhD. And I'm actually shocked by that right now because I've never added it up. So I've been in school for 11 years. And so for me to make $45,000 after graduating with a PhD, to me, seemed ridiculously low. And it was really important to me that I found a postdoc that paid well. One, because I thought that, I should be compensated for the training that I have and the experience that I've gained too, with working on research projects and whatnot. But I also was in a lot of debt. And I found out, well, you know it when you're taking out debt, right? But I didn't really think about it until one day. This was before I graduated with my PhD. I was still in the PhD program. And I think I was looking at Credit Karma or something. And I was looking through my debt, and I got so overwhelmed. Literally, I wanted to cry. And I think I probably started crying. So I went to my parents, and I was just like, I am in so much debt, and I don't know how I'm going to get over it. I was so sad about it. I just felt like the weight of the world on me because I wasn't, making that much money, being that I was in school. And I guess I couldn't see the future ahead of me to be able to say, you're going to have the ability to pay this off. And so I just felt so weighed down by all the debt that I saw on Credit Karma. And I was just like, how am I going to do this? And I felt a lot of pressure too because, well, I would say no one was directly pressuring me. But, by the time I graduated with my PhD, I was already 30 years old. And so by that point, a lot of my peers, they had already, been in their careers for several years. They had the ability to save, buy homes, start families, and things like that. And I hadn't done any of it. So just to know that once I graduated, I would be facing all of this debt and I wouldn't even be able to start on my life, I was so overwhelmed by that fact. So it was really important for me to get a postdoc that paid really well so at least I could attack the debt. So I got the postdoc and I started it, and I was very intentional too about making sure that I lived below my means. So I got this apartment and I made sure that it was less than 25% of my take-home income. And I read a book right before I graduated, because I had some downtime between finishing my dissertation and when I had to start the postdoc. So I read a few financial books in preparation for the money that I would be making, because I wanted to, I wanted to make sure that I was doing the right thing financially to help myself out. So I read a few books. One of the books that I read was Your Money Life in Your 30s. And another book by, she's a popular author. What is it called? You're a Badass at Making Money. So I think a lot of people know about her other book called You're a Badass, but I also read You're a Badass at Making Money. That book was good, but I didn't really need, I guess, the motivation or the mindset rethinking that that book offers. But the book about Your Money Life in Your 30s was very practical, and it was, it gave you an outline of what a budget should look like and which goals you should be trying to achieve in your 30s. So I was very serious, once I read that book, like, I'm going to make sure that I pay off my debt and put myself in a good financial situation. So I started the postdoc, and then I'm like, okay, I have so much debt, and I sat down and thought about everything that I had, and I was like, I'm gonna try to pay it off. And I set a goal. I can't remember right now what the goal was, how quickly I wanted to pay it off, but I set a goal for how to pay it off. But then to me it was so daunting because it was just too long, way too long. And so I was like, I need to make extra money. So I found a few side hustles. So I researched a few things. I'm like, what can I do to make more money? Because I'm not about to be in debt forever. Like, I want to get my life started. I want to be able to buy a house and travel the world and, do all those, adulting things, right? And so I looked up side hustles, and I don't even know how I found out about this, but I didn't start doing GrubHub until April. The first thing that I actually did was Instacart. So I started Instacart, and it was really good. I was making like anywhere from $400 to like $650 a week. The $650 a week would be like if I got a bonus that week. But on average, I was making like $400 to $550 a week, which was really good money. That's about like $2,000 extra a month, and it was awesome because it helped me to, pay off a lot of the debt that I had. So with my first paycheck that I got in October 2017, I paid off some IRS debt and some medical debt, and I think that was it. Those are the two debts that I paid off with my first paycheck. But with the GrubHub, I was able to with the Instacart, I was able to really attack my credit card debt. I had two credit cards, one with a almost $16,000 balance and one with like a $3,500 balance. And Instacart really helped me to put down like large chunks of money on my debt. But then Instacart stopped paying well. Can you believe that at one point Instacart was paying people to do like a batch, like one order? They would pay you about like $5 or $6 per order. Then you would get like 40 cents per item that you picked up. And then you would get a tip on top of that. So you would, make out really good. Like if you got a really good order, you could end up getting about, like $20 from, maybe even more, just from one order. But then they dropped that base rate for the orders down to like $1 to $2, and I was like, I'm not leaving my house to make $1 or $2. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And so I started to research other side hustles, and I found GrubHub, and I actually found some other ones before that, and I'm going to do a video that talks about all the things that I do to earn extra money. But I found GrubHub, and I really liked GrubHub because I didn't have to work as much as I was working with Instacart. So with Instacart, I was probably working like anywhere from 25 to 32 hours a week. And with GrubHub, I could work less hours and still make the same amount of money that I was making with Instacart. And I also didn't have to do as much driving around, and I was able to sit down in the car and listen to a lot of the podcasts that I liked and stuff like that. So Instacart really helped me, but I had to get over this mental, I guess, block that I had. And really, like, this is like my coming out video, because a lot of people don't know that I do GrubHub or did Instacart or any of the other things that I did. I started to slowly tell people that I'm doing things to earn extra money, but I really didn't want to tell people, and I really didn't want people at work to know that I was doing that. So I kind of kept it to myself, and I guess it's a little bit of shame that I had, because people kind of put you on a pedestal. People have always thought, that Shana's so smart, and Shana's, doing so well. She's been to a top HBCU. She then went to Ivy League, and she's getting her PhD. Oh, she's about to be set. She's going to be making so much money. She's about to be good. And I guess for me, like, if I were to tell people, hey, I'm doing GrubHub, hey, I'm doing Instacart, I kind of felt like I would be looked down upon, like, why, like, Shana fell off, like, how did she end up doing this, like, what's going on? So I didn't want to share that with anybody. So I would, like, people would be calling me, I'm like, yeah, I'm at the store, like, while I'm doing Instacart, or yeah, I'm picking up food. But I didn't tell people that what I was actually doing, like picking up food for other people. I would kind of be vague about it, so it seemed like I was picking up food for myself. So I didn't have to divulge what I was doing. And there were also times when I was doing GrubHub and Instacart where I had, this didn't happen too much, but I had instances where I went to people's homes and I felt like they just did ridiculous things that kind of made me feel bad about myself. Like one time, this lady started knocking cobwebs off of her house. And she was like up off of the threshold of her home, like the front doorway. And she was like, okay, come through, walk through, as the cobwebs are like, the cobweb dust is like falling. And I'm like, what? Like, I just was like, what in the world? Like, who does that to somebody? And then I had another time where this girl, she was like, that's why you work Instacart. And I'm like, so, things like that kind of made me feel insecure or self-conscious about the fact that I was doing this to pay off my debt. But some of the things that kept me going were, just the goal that I had, because I was like, I need to be out of debt. I just need to be out of debt so I don't have this weight on my shoulders, and I could just live my best life, like living my best life. Okay. So I was trying to get to that point, and I just had to like focus on that, and I'm trying to live my best life. So don't worry about what other people have to say or what they think or anything like that. But another thing that kept me going was listening to podcasts. And I don't even know how I found the Dave Ramsey podcast, because honestly the first time I listened to a podcast was when my boyfriend sent me he sent me a podcast that one of his friends does called the Secrets to Success podcast. And so I listened to it, and somehow after that, I don't know if Dave Ramsey was recommended or what, but it came on after, or maybe I selected it after, maybe because it was recommended or it was a popular show or something. I don't know. But I started to listening to it, and I was hooked, because I could relate to everybody that was calling in like, oh, I'm in, so much debt, and I don't know how to budget, or I don't know how to cut this, or how am I going to be out of debt so quickly. And so I really related to them, and I liked that he had like his baby steps. He had a plan. So I'm a practical person, so motivational stuff doesn't really do it for me. But if someone can give me some steps for a goal that I want to achieve, then I can do that. So listening to his podcast and listening to people who are doing things that I was also doing helped to motivate me a lot. and also the fact that he had his baby steps. Now, I will admit that I don't follow the Dave Ramsey plan. So he would kind of say that I do Dave-ish. I did try to evaluate whether or not the Dave Ramsey plan would work for me. And I do agree with a lot of his principles. But like I said, for me, certain things don't motivate me. So one of the things that he has in his plan, which is baby step 2, is to do a debt ball, a debt snowball. And so with that, you try to pay off your smallest debt first, and then you go work up to the higher debts. So that way you start to feel like you're making traction. But for me, that's just like, okay, I haven't paid off $500, $1,000. Like, that is not going to be like, whoo, like I'm getting the ball running. That's not going to do it for me. What's going to do it for me is seeing that I'm paying off large amounts of debts and paying off debt with a large interest rate. So that's what does it for me, and that's what I do. So it's totally the reverse of what he says to do. But it's, I still listen to him. I don't listen to him as much, but I still listen to him while I'm GrubHubbing. And yeah, I listen to his podcast every once in a while just to, hear what people are doing, and so that I identify, or I have a community to identify with. So that really has kept me going. And like I said, I haven't really told many people, but over time I've started to tell a few people, that I do GrubHub or I do other things to make extra money. And actually I've kind of inspired one of my friends, and she's actually about to start doing Instacart as well. So I realized, there's really no reason to be ashamed of what I'm doing, because, I'm trying to just live my best life. I'm trying to set myself up and my future family for success. So there's really no reason to be ashamed. And really, once I've told people, they haven't given me any negative feedback or anything. The only kind of thing that I've heard was like, why are you choosing to go to people's homes? Do you feel like that's safe or whatever? And like, I know my mom was like, you work too much, just take some time off, every once in a while. But those aren't necessarily negative things. But yeah, I guess my perception of what people thought hasn't really matched up to what really is going on. So I'm just, trying to share what I've been doing, because one, I want to, come out, and also, like I said, I had that community of people that I could relate to through the Dave Ramsey podcast, like the people who were calling in. And so I wanted to be able to do that for someone else. And so that's why I started to record these videos. So let me tell you what I've been able to accomplish, though, by doing GrubHub. So I've been able to pay off $34,000 in debt in 6 months. And that's a lot of money. Like, that is a lot of money. And I probably would not have been able to do it. Well, I know I wouldn't have been able to do it just off of my salary. Like I said that, well, let me correct that. I get a stipend. So postdocs don't get salaries, we get stipends. And so I wouldn't have been able to do that with my postdoc stipend. And yeah, so GrubHub has been a lifesaver in a sense. So I've been able to pay off, like I said, my IRS debt, my medical debt that I had. I had some school-related debt for some stuff that I needed to do for my dissertation that I paid off. I paid off my Bank of America credit card, and I paid off my Capital One credit card. And let me tell y'all, when I paid off my Bank of America credit card, so that was my largest debt of the things that I paid off so far. So that was about $16,000. And I paid that off in middle of May, and that was the last thing. Well, it's not the last thing I'll have to pay off. I still have other debt that I'm working on, but within that $34,000, that was the thing that I paid off in May. And so I just felt such a relief. Like, when that payment went through, I was just so happy. I was just like, I almost felt rich. Like, I really almost felt rich, because I was like, I'm not in debt to Bank of America anymore. So I felt so good. And yeah, I'm just so happy that I was able to do that, and I've done it in 6 months. 6 months, I paid off $34,000. I don't know how much that works out to in a month, but that's a lot of money. And so I'm just proud of myself that I've been able to do that. And I was making a lot of sacrifices while I was trying to pay off that debt. And I'm still making sacrifices, but I've kind of eased up a little bit on myself. So I wasn't going out. So I've been in Atlanta for, it'll be a week, and it'll be a year, sorry. It'll be a year in about a week since I've been in Atlanta, and I have not gone out like with anybody really. So I do have a boyfriend, and we go out every once in a while, but he's also had to make sacrifices because at times that he's wanted to do stuff with me, I'm like, I gotta work. So he'll either go do it by himself, or he'll just stay, at my apartment while he's visiting Atlanta or something like that. But he's had to make sacrifices as well, and I've had to make sacrifices with meeting people and learning the city. And I have been able to learn the city with GrubHub. That is a plus, because Atlanta is very confusing. It's not on a grid system, so it's hard to really like pick up where things are. So doing GrubHub and Instacart and things like that have allowed me to learn the city really well. But aside from that, I haven't gone out. I haven't been able to network, and a really key part of getting friends at this age, because there's no school, right? So either you have to make friends at work, and I feel like my work culture people don't try to make friends. They're like serious about the science. But one thing about making friends as an adult is you have to network in order to do that, and that's also very important for your career. And so I've sacrificed in that way to pay off my debt that I haven't been able to network at all. And so I've kind of eased up on myself, and I've started to go to a few things, and I think I'm going to start to get more involved in things as well. But I had to sacrifice doing a lot of things that people were doing, and also being out there costs money, and that's against my budget. So I just couldn't do it. And like I said, my boyfriend has had to sacrifice as well with my goals. And I've been trying to ease up and be more flexible and do things as well, since I've paid off some of the major debts that I really wanted to pay off. And he's been very supportive about it, and I'm very thankful and appreciative of that. And actually now he has his own financial goals, and he's like, I'm so thankful that you are very focused on your goals, so it makes it easier for me to be focused on my goals as well. So that has been good. So I feel like we're both going to be making sacrifices together while trying to live our life a little bit as well. But it's kind of been hard, like living in a new city and like not doing stuff. But it's really important to me that I meet my goals and meet them very soon, because I don't want to be like in my late 30s and still in debt. And so what I'm paying off now is my car. My car is a lease, but I want to pay it off so that I own it fully. And then after that, I'm paying my student loans. So what I plan to do, because like I said, I want to share with you all so that I can give back, like, people's podcast audiences that I've listened to, like they've given back to me. So I want to give back to you. So I'm going to do a few videos where I'm kind of chronicling what I'm doing to pay off the rest of my debt, and also talk to you guys about stuff that I've already done like in the past to pay off my debt. So I have a few videos, like I'm going to do videos on my monthly budget and what I spend in a month. That's going to be very interesting. Like, yeah, that's going to be very interesting. And how I'm living. So I'm going to do some vlogs about like how I'm living on a budget, and yeah, just a few other videos. So I hope that you guys are going to stick it through with me and be a part of this community with me, and I hope that I can motivate you guys and you can motivate me to really get our debts paid off so we can live our best life. So to get this community going, comment down below and tell me if you have $5,000 to contribute to your financial goals, what would you use it for? So let me think what I would use it for. So I told you that I'm trying to pay off my car next. And I have about $16,000 left to pay off, and I'm hoping to pay it off between April and June of 2019. So if I had an extra $5,000 fall from the sky or somewhere, I would make a lump sum payment to pay off my car. So tell me what you would do with that $5,000. Maybe you're not in debt. Maybe you're trying to save up for a house or trying to save up to buy a car. Let me know what you would do with that $5,000 if you were to have it magically appear in your hands. And I'm so thankful that you guys are here, and I hope that we all can, help each other, motivate each other, and I just look forward to you guys sticking with me. So I'm going to be doing more videos, so stay tuned, and thank you so much for listening to me. All right, bye y'all.